Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. It is Midnight Hatter Live variety show. We're trying out our new format today. I am, of course, your host, Steven, and joining me as always is the eloquent Adam Blue. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good. Eloquent, that's quite the word I haven't used before. But hey, anything that sounds like a big word is probably a good way to describe someone, unless they're easily offended. But otherwise,
Yeah, I
thank
can't think of very many insults that are more than four syllables. So,
you.
but now you've I'm interested in going through my thesaurus and seeing if I can find any hyperbolic insults that are more verbose. Uh,
Yeah, to make it sound like how can you tactfully cut someone down?
right, and also flex your own intellect, which then puts
Right.
them down further. um,
What's up, Goose? Robert,
yeah, how you guys
Ian? Yeah,
doing?
good
Good
to
to
see
see you guys in the
everybody.
chat. Yeah, so today we are going to hop into the first of what I hope is, a good ongoing series talking about Gunpla customization. I mentioned to Adam in private that there was another YouTube channel that I saw start to do something like this where they went through and they had like a it was like a totally planned series where they had a high grade the O from Zeta Gundam and they were going to customize the heck out of it. They had like moving panels that they were adding and all kinds of crazy scribed panel lines and stuff like that. They made the first video, it was really well edited and put together, and then they just like completely reorganized their YouTube channel and stopped doing that series entirely. So I was like, well, I kind of wanted to see how they were going to customize that O because
Yeah, the O's a cool one. Do you have the high grade O?
I don't. It's one that I probably need to get because I think it's the only Zeta villain that I don't have at this point.
I was thinking that same thing, and it actually has been reissued. I think it was alongside the Psycho
Oh,
Gundam, so I don't know if that
perfect.
was the intention of Bandai, but I'm gonna pick that up soon. And now I don't know if you've seen it. Like he added, you said this guy added extra scribing on it. Does it require that, or was that just detail?
I think it was just
He
added
was trying to.
detail. One of the main like sort of detail points that he was talking about adding was, in the skirt sabers that the O has, the high grade kit is kind of stiff. It's very, blocky. Like here are
Oh,
the sub arms, they fold out and stuff. So one of the things he was doing was cutting like notches into the skirts and cutting notches into various panels to kind of like you have like a folded up panel that's closed and it would open up and then like the sub arm would come out from under it. And so it made it look more deliberate, more mechanical. Uh it,
that's
this
cool.
might be more of an insult, but it's kind of Michael Bay-y.
Oh, I get it. And sometimes that works though.
Yeah, it's all about adding complexity to the kit, making it seem a little bit more robotic. What's up, Gundam Hunter? You just got the Psycho. Adam just reviewed the Psycho, so if you haven't checked out the Psycho Gundam review over on Gundam Explained, the link to that channel is down below in the details on YouTube. So definitely go check
Oh,
that out. I never did a review on my Psycho Gundam. I've got it over in the garage. I always wanted to customize it. I always wanted to like
oh.
there's all those cool customs you see where it's got like Psycho kind of written across the knee and stuff like that. I think
Yeah.
the Gundam fixed figuration version of the Psycho Gundam has all those decals on it, and I really wanted to do that with
Yeah.
mine, but never got around to it. Plus, I think I might have screwed up building mine because I don't know
Oh,
about yours, and Adam,
okay.
tell me in your experience, the head where it's supposed to kind of snap up, because it sinks down in order to convert into the mobile fortress mode. My head on the Psycho Gundam just like does not want to lock in place when it's in robot mode, and so it just kind of sits like like a
Yeah,
baby being burped. Like
I would say there must be something to that because mine doesn't do it too much, but it does it enough to where when I'm like posing it, I do have to pull it up just a bit more. So I think there is something to that.
yeah, that's unfortunate. Then
Oh, Gundam Hunter was also saying his doesn't stay.
it's a
So
pretty common issue. So maybe if we decide to continue this series of customizing Gunpla, that can be one of the fixes that we introduce to kind of address that issue. Because if it's a common problem for Psycho Gundam
yeah.
owners, I'd love to do something about it.
Well, that's a good idea. Because yeah, if you think about a certain Gunpla that has an issue that everyone's having, like how about redoing the Zeta real grade? Right? You think you could fix that?
First, I need to fix my own because it doesn't have a right arm. Um,
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
yeah,
What's
that
up, Zionic Shadow?
man, what a shame. Hey, what's going on, Zionic
Yeah.
Shadow, Ian? Good to see you guys in the chat. So before we hop into the, I don't want to call this a tutorial because I'm kind of just winging it. As you guys know, I'm not a Gunpla professional that enters World Cup competitions, anything like that. I'm definitely a hobbyist and a little bit more of a mad scientist. I like to experiment with different types of techniques and try to save money here and there on some of the tools that I use. Um, I don't have it on me, but next week I'll be showing off some of the tools that I just bought on Amazon that I think are going to make a huge
Mm.
impact on how we approach this kit. But again, before we hop into that, what we are going to take a look at is I did make some changes to the Gundam 5e website. The biggest one, of course, is I have replaced the old school codex of mobile suits. So this new version is one that I completely, before I was using a plugin that kind of took all the data that I had in my database and just kind of vomited it out on the site, and it worked, but it wasn't as clean and awesome as this. This is a
Ooh.
custom solution that I built from the ground up. It reads the database, it updates the database daily, so every time I add a mobile suit or edit things, that'll be live updated on the website. We've got images back in place, and I think it's just a little bit easier to read. You can still sort things by the different columns you've got here. So if you wanted to sort it alphabetically, of course it's by model number because I have the model numbers included here, so it's a lot of Neo Xeon stuff up front loaded. But yeah, you click to expand
Wow.
any of the rows and you get your image, you get all of the stats for the mobile suits. I think that this is going to make life a lot easier, and of course you can always go in and search things. So we're going to talk about Zeta. Here we go. We've got our Zeta Gundam, we've got our Zeta Plus, and you can search like anything. So I mean, for instance, if we wanted to search like what's a good example? Like Psychomu suits. Oh, it would help if I spell it right. Um, you know, you can search and it'll pull up
Ah,
all of
the
your
tags.
all your tagged
Wow.
mobile suits. So like, it's a very powerful tool, and I think it's pretty awesome. All of the tables where all of like the databases where we've got like weapons and things like that, these all of them are going to be going to this format going forward. As I have time to go ahead and make those changes, as well as user accounts. I have the user accounts plugin all set up on the website. It's just a matter of giving people access to their dynamic character sheets. You're going to be able to log in. You're going to have like a database of your characters that you have saved to the website. I thought about doing like kind of like a character limit the way that D&D Beyond does, where it's like, if you're a free customer, you can only create six characters, and then you would have to delete some if you wanted to create more. And then they have like their premium plans where you can create more content. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say as many characters as if you want to create 400 characters on Gundam5e.com, that is gravy.
Yeah, that's cool because I feel like I could use this for more than just looking at the mobile suits just for for what it's used for, but just it's really cool how it's almost like this database you created.
Yeah, and
In a way.
for people that support me on Patreon, this is one of the for September. I will probably be releasing this code so that you're able to create your own databases that are
Oh,
expandable and things like that. So like I used it here for Gundam 5e, of course, but I think that going forward, people could use it for all kinds of different stuff.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't even have to be related, I guess, to tabletop. Really looking at this is just really nicely done.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank
it's
you. Yeah, I hope that it is a helpful tool for those trying to play Gundam tabletop games. So,
Yeah, are there any features still like is there anything else you're trying to implement that's not being done by the big boys like Games Workshop or whatever?
um, well, not that I know of. one of the things that I had for the version 1 of Gundam 5e was I had an enemy generator, as well as a mobile suit generator. So what you could do is you could plug in different parameters, like say you wanted to challenge a level 4 group of players and you wanted it to use a certain type of mobile suit, or even if you just wanted to say like I want only ground type mobile suits, then it would generate randomly, it's going to be this mobile suit, it's going to have this many hit
Hmm.
points, it's going to have this armament, these many attacks, this kind of thing. And so that's something that, the big boys don't necessarily have. Obviously, they have their big content libraries and databases full of
Yeah.
monsters that you can use in D&D. But that is something that I'd like to bring back because there's something fun about randomly generating your enemies. It kind of gives it
Yeah.
that element of unpredictability. You know, what
Yep.
if there was a new type that was using like an a guy, not like the guy from Thunderbolt, but
Yeah. No, but that is good, that like that dynamic randomness. I mean, even in video games,
yeah.
that's a lot of
Yeah,
fun,
we've talked about that a lot in regard to
Yeah.
video games. So bringing that RNG to tabletop, I'm a big fan of that. So any opportunity to do that for Gundam 5e, I will definitely be trying to do that.
Cool.
Well, that said, here is the reference image we are going to be working from. We've got our high grade Hi-Zack. I ended up getting the Federation color one. I'm not sure why.
Right.
Because obviously they have the green Titans one, but I guess this is
Yeah, that's
closer.
Yeah, that's that weird thing that I have yet to find an answer for with the Hi-Zack. It's like there's a Federation version, and then there's the Titans version. It's green, so it's
Yeah.
almost like and this could be something I need about Titan test team. So could it be that the test colors are the blue or are the dark purple or blue or whatever? And is it that like the rollout colors then end up being Federation? I don't know, because I don't know when it comes to Advance of Zeta, I don't really know how much of them are really just in prototype suits all the time or test suits.
Yeah, and that's what this is essentially the pre-production type Hi-Zack. So this is,
Yeah.
it in lore, it goes from this color scheme, the, blue and purple and yellow, to this kind of soft blue and navy color scheme, which isn't far off, but I really do like the accents of like the gold lines kind of outlining some of the body parts, adding some color separation in there. And we're gonna do some fun tricks for that. I already have some ideas for using. I've mentioned how I use some print your own decal paper. I'll probably be doing
Yeah.
that with this kit where we're gonna print those lines, cut them out, and water slide decal them on so that it's not painted, because otherwise I would have to
Yeah.
hand paint this, and I'm
It
I'm
wouldn't look
I'm good
as
but not
good.
that good.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, like, okay, so is that what kind of color is that? Like, is it a gold, yellow, orange, all three?
So I mean, to me it looks like a goldenrod yellow. I
Okay.
probably, and I'll ask the chat if you feel like
Yeah.
does this look like a metallic to you? Because
Mm.
obviously the other reference image that I have, because I had to have a reference image of the back as well. This one is not as high res,
Ah,
but this
I see.
definitely looks flatter yellow, not metallic, not.
That's true.
So I'm thinking that it's probably just going to be a flat yellow. But I
Well,
mean,
that I was gonna say that reminds me of when I've been building my Titan suits. How they kind of have that. They all have that kind of yellowy orange, whatever color. And I was trying to figure it out because then some areas that I was painting on my own, which really doesn't look that good, so I'm kind of embarrassed to show. I tried to match it by mixing colors. So there is something to it. I guess maybe looking at the other kits that have that color as
yeah,
well.
and I love the contrast pop of it. You've got like a
Yeah.
dark mobile suit with these bright pops of yellow all over it, which I think really makes it stand out.
Yeah, like with the even the Titans Mark
Yeah,
II,
the Mark
which
II, the
is
GM Quell has the same.
yeah, GM Quell. That's a good one.
Um. So yeah, what I've done. Let's see what we've got. Yes, more Xeon stuff. I'm missing the Zeta Plus Hummingbird. Yeah, I do. I need to add the Zeta Plus Hummingbird. That's. I have
Oh.
the SD version, like one of those little Gashapon kits in the garage as well. Um,
Oh, Zionic Shadow is saying that he hates the Titans. That's interesting because I know you're a Xeon guy. Is it because the Titans are kind of a federation that stole, uh, stuff from Xeon to use in the Federation, and they were still kind of against Xeon? Anyway, that was a great trifecta
yeah. And I
of
think that that's
stuff.
why Zeta is lauded so highly among the fans, is because it's less of that good versus evil, Federation versus Xeon.
Yeah.
It's more of this, like, gray area. You've got these three factions that none of them are particularly favorable. I mean, you could argue, yes, the AU are the good guys, but even then, how good can they be if their supporter, like their chief financial backing, is Luo and Company? And
Yeah.
Luo and Company, you don't learn this until Gundam Narrative, but Luo and Company is not exactly a cool organization to be working for. I mean,
Yeah, they're just like a corporate entity or something that just has a lot of money, and so if the government can leverage them, they will.
exactly. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Titans myself, but man, those Advance of Zeta designs are pretty
You're not
sweet.
a fan either. Why? Because they're baddies, like super baddies.
Yeah, there's a little bit of Earth supremacist going on there,
Yeah.
and it's all about what's the line? Getting your soul freed from gravity, and they're just a little
Oh
too
yeah.
bound by gravity for my taste. Um,
I like they remind me of zombies and Nazis. They are excellent bad guys.
oh yeah, yeah,
Like you can hate them and it feels good to hate them. I guess that's a good
exactly.
way.
But Advance of Zeta hopefully kind of does pulls people away from that mentality by showing you another side of the Titans test team. The not so baddies, if you will. Now,
Autonomous
oh
saying have a great
oh,
stream.
cheers, bud.
Zionic
Thank you.
Shadow is actually saying, yeah, we were correct with our analysis on that.
There you go.
But yeah, anyway, yeah, back to
Oh yeah, so in my other tab here, I've got Photoshop opened. I've got my tablet pen ready to go, and I'm just gonna basically be, you know, like a plastic surgeon. I'm gonna be drawing lines all over this kit and talking about, because ultimately the best Gunpla should be well planned, and you should have a good idea of where you're going before you start carving up, because obviously this kit is going to require a great deal of chopping to make it work. So I think I mentioned this last week, but one of the things that I always do is, if you see, we've got our Zaku style mono eye head, and the visor has this
ah,
huge gap that makes it look
that's
kind of
right.
dopey. It's not as cool looking, and if you look at our reference image here, you can see how sharp of an angle that that mono eye
Yep.
is coming out of. So what we want to do is kind of replicate that in our high grade kit, which means this is actually going to be a tricky one to do, because unlike the Zaku's that I've worked with in the past, the Hi-Zack, if you I don't know if you'll be able to see the seam line, but the seam line actually goes through the center of the head, and instead of coming around the side, so it's actually two pieces sandwiched on the right and left, so horizontally as opposed to vertically. So with Zaku's, usually you can just cut off a little bit of the inside and you're good to go. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing with this particular kit, is we're going to be shaving off some of the inside here to tighten up that visor and make it, probably going to take about 2 millimeters to bring that down. But what we're going to have to do first is use a bit of plastic cement, which I've got some around here somewhere. And so I'm actually going to seal this head up with plastic cement and then cut it and reassemble it that way.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that reminds me. What you're trying to do reminds me of the Zaku 2FZ because that comes that way.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
mean that head
but
is basically
yeah.
the FZ head. If you're,
Okay, so that is accurate then. Okay, I did not know that. Okay.
I wish that I had a spare FZ to just borrow the head from, because that would save me a
Yeah,
little bit of work. But
because it seems like it's $30, but would you really want to spend $30 on a kit just to get the head when it's just a nice kit on its own? It's probably cooler to customize it.
But I'm going to counter your proposal because
Oh, okay.
the Zaku 2 FZ comes with two heads. You get the Fritz
Oh,
helm.
that's right. Yeah, it
So
has that flat top
yeah,
look.
so if you wanted to get that
Oh,
kit, as
yeah.
long as you were fine not having the Bernie version, then you could actually use that in this particular use case scenario. Um, and as you can see from the reference image as well, the snout of the pre-production Hi-Zack is a little bit longer than the sort of snubby snout uh of the high grade kit. So we're going to need to bring that down a little bit, and I'm not sure exactly how far it's going to have to come down. But fortunately, there if you look at that reference image again, there's like a little band that comes down over the eye or just under the eye. So we can actually attach a piece of pla plate here to kind of mount it on.
Mm.
So that's going to kind of make life easier. And then one of the other things that you might notice almost immediately looking at these two kits is the piping on the pre-production Hi-Zack doesn't have the segments that the high grade kit has. So we have a couple of
Mm.
options there. One is I could just sand off all of the piping. The other is I could use some spare, you know, like an old phone charging cable and cut up pieces of it and kind of plug it in where the pipe would go. And I
Ah,
think that would probably
that's
give
cool.
us a better result
Yeah.
because it's going to be softer, it's going to be a little bit more pliable than the plastic that these pipes are made out of.
Yeah, and that actually, I think, uh, really adds more value to it in general because that kind of, when you have different material types on something, it kind of makes it seem a lot more um, cooler. I don't know what words I'm looking for today, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it gives it a sense of realism because it's not all
Yeah.
one type of plastic. And it's funny because I just recently discovered that the new 2020 version of the high grade Char Zaku actually comes with two different skirts. It comes with the hard plastic skirt, but then it also comes with like a soft silicone skirt that allows you to pose it a little bit more dynamically. Um, I don't know which one I'm going to end up using when I build that kit eventually, but I
Hmm.
kind of want to save the soft silicone skirt and use it for a custom because,
Yeah. So you can get some more dynamic poses out of it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Zionic Shadow says that the piping reminds you of the Psycho Zaku from Thunderbolt. Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And also in reference to piping, I don't know if you can see it as well on this image, but you can definitely see it on the backside. So the high grade kit does not actually have any leg piping to speak of, the way that like a Zaku 2 does, but the pre-production Hi-Zack does have a little leg pipe that comes out of it's shorter than a Zaku 2, obviously, but it is there and it connects from the thigh to sort of the top of the knee. So we're actually going to need to cut a hole in the side of the thighs and add pipe that isn't there. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to substitute in a different material for the
Mm.
piping because being able to match that to the existing
Yes. Keep it
piping,
consistent.
yeah, keep it consistent
Yeah.
and of course do the same thing on this side. We don't need to. And let me know if the markings that I'm putting I tried to go for like a lime green. Hopefully that shows up well on this background.
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah. If
Sweet.
anyone in the chat has an issue, let us know.
Um
Oh, and Trikovec 15. I love the Gyaradoga pipes. Yeah, I mean, I like the Gyaradoga in general. I love that evolution.
Man, I wish I could find an affordable high grade Gyaradoga kit because
Yeah.
now obviously I mentioned this when I first bought the kit, but obviously the Zaku style rifle is no go. I don't know. I mentioned that I wanted to challenge myself. I don't want to just go and 3D print anything that I don't have. So I'm going to need to try and come up with a way to make this beam rifle from scratch. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet.
Wow. Yeah, that does look very similar to a so let me grab this. There are some similarities. Yeah, you would probably have to modify the gun.
Yeah.
Uh, Actually, a lot. Even the viewfinder, it looks like just certain elements are the same. You'd almost have to take a gun, cut off the top, and modify.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to be a challenge in itself. Now, this is something I'm going to need your opinion on because to me, it looks like from the reference images that um if you look at the high grade kit itself, the shoulder mounted shield has like a bit of a taper to it. It kind of thins out towards the bottom. Unlike a Zaku 2 shield, which is kind of straight and flat throughout its shape. Looking at this, because it kind of tucks behind the arm, I can't tell if this one tapers as well. And maybe we can get a better look at it from the backside. To me, it looks like the shield is a flat block piece, the way that the Zaku 2 shield is, as opposed to being tapered the way that the Hi-Zack uh the way that this is.
Hmm. Yeah, it's hard to say because if you do go back to the that reference shot, it it almost seems like it, but that could be the perspective that we're looking because it is kind of to the side and back. So it's not that apparent, really, if that's the case.
Yeah. So at the very least,
Yeah.
I won't make any solid plans yet, but one thing for sure is that the um that it requires a bit of an angle on the fold here. So this is going to be a flattened out. I'm going to have to sand this part down to make it more angular as opposed to having that round edge.
Ah, I see. I
But
wonder if the yeah, I was thinking that high grade Char I think you were bringing up with the Zaku too. I wonder if the shield on that.
that could be a compatible,
Yeah.
I could just swap in a Zaku shield as opposed to, tinkering and modeling with this one.
Although the tinkering and modeling is fun.
It's kind
So
of part of the bag
yeah.
here. Trikovic says use the BR-87 from the Marisai as the base. That's not a bad idea, and I happen to have a Marisai upstairs that I plan on converting into the Rosette, also from Advance of Zeta. So I'll be getting rid of that
Oh
beam rifle
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, I just looked that up and it does have a lot of the similar qualities of that gun. You would just need to combine it with like the Hazel guns or whatever.
Yeah, those like the clips that it has. It seems
Yep.
to have
The same scope but different clip.
yeah, it's got like a magazine design, which I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to kind of again, I don't want to 3D print anything if I can help it, but modeling out those magazines because obviously it has the spare mags on the left arm. Um,
Oh yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
have to do something with that. Zionic Shadow says that the shield is wider, so at the very least,
Hmm.
even if I keep the taper, I think I'm still gonna have to, add some putty or some plot plate and kind of bulk up the shield a little bit.
Yeah, and I just see that Trikovec just he had said combine Hazel and Marisai. So good
Perfect.
on you, sir, for that, or ma'am, for that information. And then Jedi Sailor, good to see you
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
chat
good to see you in
also.
chat
Cool.
as always.
Yeah.
All right, some other things that we notice. So speaking of the left arm, you might notice from the front view that this sort of side flap that hangs below the spike shoulder is sort of angled and kind of trapezoid shaped on the pre-production versus being rounded and kind of smoothed into the kit on the final version of the Hi-Zack. However, from the rear view, we have the smoothed out version. So this one I kind of feel like, is it
Yeah, seems like
optional?
that's just an interpretation. Even though this is great artwork,
Yeah.
it seems like there's some liberties taken to kind of edge it out. So I guess it's more of a matter of
Well,
are you
if we're gonna
willing to
challenge
do the work?
ourselves, We probably ought to go ahead and make it a full challenge and at least try to replicate the cooler artwork as best as
Yeah.
we can. Um, this I will probably end up doing, just solid putty work because I don't trust
Oh,
myself with plow plate enough to. Honestly, I don't even have any plow plate to work with, so to speak of.
what's I'm sorry. What's the brand of that putty you're talking about?
I have a couple of different brands that I use. The one that I have nearby, what is it? Oh, here it is. So this is Premium Magic Putty. It's a two-part epoxy putty that I got from New Type US. Obviously I've had it a while because it's started to discolor a little bit. At least the hardener has. So whoa. So yeah, it's just a two-part putty that you can mix together, and it hardens in about 24 hours. I've used it like really well with molds. So like if I've got a two-part mold that I've made using Oyumaru or silicone, you can stuff the putty inside the mold and get like a copy of a part if you need it.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that
that's
might
a
be
good
something that
idea.
we end up doing for this kit as well, especially for like the leg pipes, for instance. Like I don't want to,
Yeah.
depending on what materials we use, like obviously if it's just the cable that I'm going to use, then I'll just cut them the same length and it'll be fine. But if I do end up molding them out of plastic, I want those things to be exact.
Yeah.
I'm a big stickler for symmetry, and
Yeah. I know what you mean.
so let's what else we've got to tinker with. So it looks like the chest piece here. Oh wait, actually, did I cover the? So I mean the. I don't think I'm gonna have to really change the bolt in the shoulder here because it kind of matches the same location as the reference art.
Yeah.
Although,
Um, yeah, it has that more. Well, yeah, I guess you could just add some putty there and make it a little
yeah,
bigger
I think
on the
we're gonna have
edges.
to end up making it a little bit more angular on the edges,
Yeah.
which it's gonna be a pain, but it'll be worth it, I think, in the finished product. Really, the whole kit seems to be much more angular than what the high grade looks like, right?
Yeah, and I bet that was kind of artistic liberties, but I think it checks out. I mean, it looks nice.
Yeah,
And now that we're on the chest, the one thing I noticed, which could also go with the eye, is putting some red LEDs.
that is a great idea. Um,
I
so
love the way it looks in the photo. Like they really made the light
it really does
show up.
pop there.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I'm gonna do is make a note for either LED or, depending on how modular I end up having to get with the chest, we may end up having to do one of our glow in the dark tricks.
Oh, yeah,
Um, but I think that is this will probably end up being all plot plate just fastened on top of the kit because in order to get those sharp angles, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that with just putty.
And then Trickovic says something. Another cool thing to try out would be getting a hold of an at guy and replacing the physical mono eye with some semi-transparent black plastic film, and getting some circular light for the mono eye flicker from Gundam vs Zeta.
Ooh, that's not a bad idea.
Good stuff.
So
Good
what
stuff.
I might so this might actually even appeal to you even more is using those wireless LEDs that I
Oh
did a video
yeah.
on those a few months back. I don't know if it's going to be small enough to be used in the head, but it'll definitely fit in the chest. Um,
Okay.
and
Yeah, I need to pick a kit I have to use your video and go through and do that because I love that idea.
oh
I would even do that with the robot spirits,
yeah,
actually.
it's amazing. When I and so one of the things that I mentioned that I like to try and do things DIY or try to avoid spending money on like super expensive name brand products. Like I don't have God hand nippers for my kits or anything like that. Um,
Okay.
so New Type put out an advertisement for an LED, like a wireless LED base that it's like $90 for just the base. and then it's like $10 for every 10 extra wireless LEDs that you want to have. And you
Mm,
can only buy one color at a time. So that means like, if you wanted maybe two green, three reds, you're gonna end up paying $20 for 10 greens and 10 reds. So
yeah.
the wireless LEDs that I found, the induction ring and the LEDs themselves, I think it was a total of like $30 for everything. And
Oh,
you can
wow.
actually use it in different places besides just that base. So one of the things that I want to do is, if I were to create a diorama scene where I've got like a cityscape, I can, I can hide that induction ring anywhere I want in the scene in order to get that light effect.
Man, I love that. That's got to be my, even though I talk about things I want to do, that's my top number one project I need to get on is that wireless lighting. And then Jedi Sailor, I wouldn't be surprised if they reuse molds from the 00790 era Zaku kits to cut costs or whatever. Yeah. I think especially with that head.
Yeah, definitely.
Um and and then Robert's asking what I'm drinking. Um it's a watermelon sparkling water.
I'm a
I
big fan of
I
the
drink.
Waterloos.
Oh, do you have that too? You've had it before?
Yeah, yeah, I like the Waterloos. I'm a big fan of Spindrift seltzer waters as well. They're not the zero
Oh.
calorie ones
Yeah,
though, but they have real juice in them. So it's like,
I've seen that. Another one's bubbly, and while I usually don't get that brand, they have pineapple, and that is delicious.
yeah, I'm a big pineapple guy for sure. But unfortunately, I would not survive in a tropical climate. Yeah, I get heat rash. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and I was debating like, let's see. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to bulk out these skirts. You look at the concept art here, and the skirt armor is nice and chonky compared
Yep.
to this like flat plastic plate that we've got on the actual kit. I'm starting to worry that the only thing I'm not going to have to customize on this thing is the feet.
I mean, yeah, at this rate, yeah.
um, but I think that there's going to be some quality of life changes as well because, and I'm going to show you this in just a moment. If we were going to move on to the back, uh, I will say that the high grade backpack drives me absolutely insane for two reasons. One is you have these little flaps here for the on the side of the thrusters, and they like to just come off for no reason, like Charlie Kelly's teeth in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They pop off. Um, so I hate them, and I was thinking
Uh,
if I don't make this custom, I'm definitely going to you know, at least glue them in or something. Like I have to do
yeah.
something with them. Um,
I've been doing that with thrusters lately on backpacks. They'll just pop off when I just pick it up to pose, and I'm like, oh, something fell. Oh, a thruster.
yeah, you don't need that. Um,
Yeah.
and then the other thing, you probably noticed this, again, asymmetry drives me insane. The kind of antenna on the back, the way that they are fastened in is very flimsy, and you really can't position it the way you want because as soon as you touch it, it kind of just does whatever it wants to do. So, the good news about that is that the
Oh,
Advance of Zeta
there's none.
Hi-Zack does not have those parts on it. So I can just go ahead and take those right on off. But we're not just going to throw it away because we are environmentally friendly people here. If you notice, the Advance of Zeta backpack has those kind of wing binders that come down and they look almost eerily similar to the antenna
Yeah.
flaps that we have up here. So I think that with a little bit of extra molding on them to kind of bulk them out, we can reuse these as our wing binders and just angle them downward.
That's interesting. I wonder if that is just done on purpose. Like, do those things move down anyway? And so I don't know. They roll it out on this advanced Zeta unit like that. I,
Maybe that's kind of where it originated from. And
yeah.
I know you're a big fan of this. Is like when you have that sort of development tree where you can kind of identify design elements that are carried over from the prototype to the finished model.
Yeah.
So it would be a cool piece of headcanon to suggest that like those wing
It's
binders
related.
actually just turn upwards.
Yeah, it's because most of the time I'm like, there's no way this toy manufacturer is smart enough that they have their built-in canon design philosophy with the toy itself, but they do. You know,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing.
And you know what? I think that there is definitely some credence to that because even just tinkering with it right here, I've managed to turn
There you go.
that there we go. So that's what we're
Okay.
looking at doing is converting these flaps that go up into wing binders that go down. And like I said, I'm definitely going to bulk them out and they're a little wobbly. So hopefully by adding some material to them, they're going to be a little snugger and a little bit more stable. Where did I set my oh, there you go. We want to get rid of these and then we are going to take these and rotate them down. And hopefully bulk them out a bit so that we get a little bit more material on them.
Jedi say the same. It's always sunny on side 3. I like that. And what would be the group? It would be Kai would be there for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
feel like it would be Kai. Um, yeah, I don't know. Jared. I don't know. There's so many people you can name that would be a good It's Always Sunny group.
Yeah. I'm trying to imagine like, who would be the Frank, who would be the Dennis. I mean, Shar would obviously have to be Dennis being the sociopath that he is.
Yeah. Hey, and Robert, I did see your chat. I'll get to that later. Zombie family shenanigans. Yep. Yeah, that's true. You could probably take those zombie siblings and make a funny skit out of that.
The gang drops a colony.
that was good.
Yeah, we're gonna have
good.
to I'm definitely gonna be
That
making
needs to
that
be
a
a shirt.
YouTube short.
That was good.
So yeah, I'm just adding in this note about the side um piping that we need to add to these legs. Because we haven't done a whole lot of drawing on the backside. But there's really not a whole lot to do on the backside, thankfully.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows we have our work cut out for us on the front.
Yeah, I just love how that backpack worked out. Where
Yes.
those binders can just go down, yeah.
Yeah, just twist it around. And anything that I would like, obviously I'd like to recycle as much from the kit as I possibly can. I don't want to have to create a whole bunch of stuff from scratch. So any
Yeah,
opportunity.
there's that balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, it's like, well, then why don't you just make your own kit? Just 3D print the whole thing and
Yeah.
call it good.
That's true. That's yeah.
Yeah, the back skirt looks good because that's kind of squared off the same way as that one. We do need to replace the pipes in the arms and legs, so that's another little point to remember. Let's see, what else am I missing from these concept arts that we have not addressed on the final kit?
Let's see. What about the side vent there on the chest under the arm?
Oh yeah, down in here, this little guy.
Yeah.
Let's see what that looks like on the
Not
kit.
that it's super visible, but
I think that every detail matters, obviously.
Cool. I agree.
Fortunately, well, so the kit itself, oh man, this whole thing's falling apart on me.
Well, that's something you'll fix too, I'm sure.
Yeah. So you can't see it very well in the image here, but there is there's almost like a panel that clips on here, and it's more
Interesting.
functional than anything else because if I take that panel off, it actually whoa, careful with your sharp objects. When you take this panel off, it actually exposes the plug to remove the piping here.
Oh.
So
So maybe that might be part of like as you add in the wiring instead, or like a cable or whatever instead of the plastic, maybe modifying that in general, adding that little vent or whatever it is.
Exactly. And I think one of the other
Okay.
things that I just noticed this as I was, butchering this thing is the pipes on the front of the mobile suit on the kit, they kind of curve upwards, whereas on the concept art,
Yeah.
they come in
And it goes
straight.
in straight. Now, how would you do that? Would you just cut the plastic and then get some of that putty and then reshape it?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if I might not even have to necessarily cut because obviously we're going to be replacing those pipes anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So
Like you can create a whole new connector
yeah,
that
we
goes
might
in
just create a whole
horizontally.
new
Yeah.
port and plug it in there. Let's. Oh man, we got two geese in the chat here. What's going on?
That's too many geese. You guys got to fight it out.
Yeah. Let's see. What else are we missing? I think the side skirts are pretty good. They seem to. Although again, really everything about this version of the Hi-Zack is chunked out.
Yeah.
So I might have to kind of double down and like make that side skirt a little bit thicker. But
Literally double down. Just literally double it
yeah,
together.
I mean, I might even, that might be something that I do is make a silicone mold and just like take two of them and press them together and see how that goes.
Yeah.
To thicken out that skirt. But I think it's gonna add weight to the kit because obviously the way that the kit looks now is very and I can hide the artwork. It's very skinny and kind of flimsy compared to the level
It's true.
of chonk
It's a
that we've
white
got
boy.
here.
Yeah.
So
So I wonder if that might be better overall, make it a more sturdier kit.
I'm hoping so. Yeah, I'm hoping that it gives it um a little bit more rigidity, a little bit more fortitude. Now, I am a little unsure of how I would handle this, but if we look at the concept art one more time, we see
Yeah.
that the inner, what would you call that? Your inner calf, is kind of hexagonal. It's got this
Right.
angular look to it, and you mentioned this before. Everything about this artwork is much more angular than the kit itself. So the kit is rounded
Oh.
off here. So
Hmm.
the question is, how uh, is if and how if we can get that to be straightened out.
Would you do a mix of putty and sanding?
I'm
Is
thinking
that
that that's the only thing that I could do, to be honest with you, because it's not. If it were a separate part that I could attach on, then we could, you know, talk about like maybe doing something with that. But this is just part of the leg, so I'm gonna have to
yeah.
think about that one.
I like Goose, Goose, one of the geese, is saying, I'm the OG. And then Tricovex says, Tall Geese 3 enters the chat. Perfect timing. That was hilarious.
Awesome. Um, Bob the Builder says slice it, plot plate, and scribe. I mean, that's basically 95% of the customization going into this kit is going to be plot plate and scribe it up. Um, Now that is about all I can see on the front side that we need to worry about.
Oh, you know what?
Oh,
There's actually like a rivet on the front of the skirt, the front skirt.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I just noticed that. And there is some detail on the other one, so it might be that you're putting whatever on top. That way, it gives you that flat surface to then create those details.
Yeah.
And it has a little bit of red in it, so I wonder, maybe the reflective paint for that size.
That might be the way to go. So yeah, we definitely need to add in that little notch there. And it looked like
Yeah.
it had notches kind
Yep.
of on the corners, which is a pretty typical Gunpla uh, staple.
Design element. Yeah.
Um But yeah, I see what you're saying. It's like it's almost like this design is brought up on this. So instead of going all the way to the end, these little notches kind of end halfway down.
Mm, yeah, that's right. And then it has it kind of like a tapered. Yeah, lots of angles here.
Yeah, this is going to be a very angular kit when all is said and done.
I like how Sayla's saying like a Leo is a nude tall geese. Never really thought about that.
I mean, pretty much. It's like
Yeah.
Hoggy's birthday suit. Um, skirt looks similar to a Jesta skirt. I could see that actually. Sure. Let me. Uh,
Here's one I've got. I don't know if that's showing up due to the how dark it is. I got to set up my lighting. Um, it's not too similar. I mean, it does have the little notches, but
yeah, I mean, at least the front part of it definitely. The side obviously because the Jesta has those grenades kind of. Yeah, I didn't realize that the Jesta had sub arms. Is that?
oh yeah, for its shield, it's like the shield can move on its own on that thing, and either he can hold it, it's he or she, or
We're not going to
it moves
misgender
on
any
its own.
Jestas here.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
Yeah, not you know what though? I was just looking at the jest and I was like, the angle of the skirt makes it seem like it's a big thick skirt, but then when I looked at it, I realized it's more of just a very steep angle, so it makes it look thicker than it really is.
yeah.
So maybe some of that's going on here, but I gotta say he's pretty chunky everywhere.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's a pretty girthy skirt there. Um, oh, so this is an interesting detail that I just noticed in kind of proximity to the skirt is you notice how the concept art here has just a flat plate in the upper thigh, whereas the actual kit has a little bit of piping
oh, the
in that
piping,
same
yeah.
area. Now, fortunately, that is paint on the art here. The actual kit, it's just part of the
No.
so that is going to be an easy, file it down, flatten it out and paint it gray.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can live with that.
That's cool.
But yeah, we can definitely work with that. Um so let's see, and then obviously we have a lot of paint work to do, but like I mentioned, that's going to be I'll probably do a flat spray coat of the lighter, like the grayish blue, and then for the navy, I'll either, if I can find a good spray for it, I will spray it and just tape off the parts that kind of need to be separated. If
Hmm.
not, then I might just have to hand paint those, and I'll still tape it off because I'm a pretty sloppy hand painter, so at least I'll get nice clean straight lines. Painter's tape is your friend.
Yeah.
Okay, on the back side of the backpack, it looks like we've got, well, nope, I mean that's right there. That same little notch. Um, I was worried that the artwork of the notch up there, it kind of has it divided in two. So at the very least, I can add a little piece of plate in here to separate it into two panels. Minor things.
Yeah. But hey, it's completing the look.
Yeah, steal this look for um aside from that, is there anything else? I mean, I don't really see anything on the back side that stands out besides that backpack.
What about the bottom of the skirt?
Oh yeah, the I mean, at least
Oh,
it's
it's
angled
kind of there.
off, but I think that, as with the rest of the skirt, we might want to thicken it up. So,
And there was those two notches that look similar to that, but it was a little different. So it could be that you
oh yeah.
yeah.
So we have to
Oh, and
kind of,
that's on it's a little away from the corner. There's almost like a line, a scribing line that you would have in the corner that goes up,
yeah.
or it's not even. Well, it looks like it's kind of off there in that picture. because where the corner is at the bottom versus where the line goes up on each side, it's a little
Yeah.
uneven. But yeah,
I can't tell how much of that is the artist's interpretation versus
right.
what I might do is use the existing notches there as a guide for a scribe
Good
and
idea.
just trace it up all the way up the skirt and then add the two notches that are kind of in between it.
Yeah.
That might be the way to go. But then it does look like there's a little chunk in the middle there that is missing from the final version. So we might need to kind of craft something um or see if we've got like kind of any scrap plastic that we can create that little block that sits in the middle of the skirt like that.
Yeah. Spanking Goose 80. The legs remind me of the one Xeon mobile suit with the cross visor.
Cross visor. Is that the Dom or the
Oh,
Ryzen?
that's a good point. You might be referring to that because, yeah, I think the DOMs kind of introduced the really big
The skirted.
legs. Yeah. Yeah. The skirt. Yeah. And the Xeon uh, mobile suits. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I got to hand to Titan's mobile suits is the legs much much sturdier, chunkier looking than some of the Xeonic legs. So like, if we were going to look at a side by side between the high mobility Zaku and the Hi-Zack leg, that foot is much more substantial and looks like it would be a little sturdier to stand on than the tiny little Zaku foot there.
Yeah. That's true. And you know what? Robert brought up the Guyan, how that kind of has more of that because it doesn't completely hide the foot and it does have that kind of bigger bell bottom look on the
It's got a
pants.
very
Pants.
very 70s aesthetic for sure.
Yeah.
Um damn boy, he thick. Um and really I think that that's probably if I were to redo the thumbnail for this video, it's going to be damn boy he thick because that's really
Yeah.
the moral of this story is we're
Yeah.
taking a kind of scrimpy scrawny mobile suit and we're adding a whole bunch of material to it, whether it's plot plate, whether it's modeling putty, and we're just going to make this thing as chonky as we can get it because that's what it is. I mean, this concept art is very um
Wide.
yeah, wide, stout, blocky, whatever whatever adjective suits your needs. I'm even debating, you even look at like I swear by the end of this stream the kit is going to be completely dismantled. But like if you look at the backpack from the front in the concept art and compare it to the backpack of the kit, even these two blocks up here seem to be much more substantial in the art than in the actual kit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll necessarily go that far because that's kind of a minor detail compared to like the chest sculpting and reinforcing the skirts and all of that stuff.
Right.
Like I said, the biggest things, you're going to be looking at like the chest, the head. Obviously, the head is a huge design difference.
Yeah.
Um and then yeah, just like thickening out those skirts and replacing the piping.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we
It's
still
gonna
have
be
the
great.
mystery of how to handle that beam rifle.
I like that idea in chat about the Marisai gun and then getting a Hazel magazine because you're
Yeah,
going to need some Hazel magazines anyway.
exactly
Um,
right.
with the one on the arm. Yeah.
Yeah, because we need at least the one to go in the rifle and then the spares for the arm. So,
Yeah.
and I don't think he doesn't carry any on the shield as well, does he? That seems to be like a thing that they kind of introduced in the origin is carrying all those like spare
Yep.
ammunition on the shoulder shield, which I always
Which
thought
seems
was
like a bad idea.
yeah, it's a little reckless. I'm like, wait a second, aren't you using that to block never mind.
I bet when they're like, as Xeon Soldier's like, but Commander, if I block my shield, I'm gonna die. And he's like, that's the point. Get out there. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, there's the famous Shar Aznable line, right? Like, who cares as long as it doesn't hit you.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. Then I think that we have a solid direction to go with this, and I think
Yeah.
on our next stream we are actually going to start carving up this puppy and working with it. We have a lot lot to do, but I think it's going to be a fun project to work with. I will break out some of the supplies next week. We'll, look at whether it's more efficient to use LEDs or whether it's more efficient to use paint for the light up effects that we want to use. Obviously, the chest and the mono eye are the obvious examples, but it'd be cool to use one of those wireless LEDs in the beam rifle too. That little red light stands out to me, so I was like,
Yeah.
um,
The whole thing just having lights on it would be sick,
yeah,
just,
and I mean we might as well because that's what we're doing here.
yeah.
So, oh,
Oh, we didn't even,
doesn't
yeah.
even have that shield, so we can just
Okay.
scrap that. It'll be a good source of
Yeah.
spare plastic for us. But yeah, I
Oh, go
think.
down to the feet real quick
Oh,
on this one. On this one. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. I was just double checking something.
no, no,
Is that at
I
first I was looking to see if there's a sensor, how they do
oh,
that sometimes,
yeah.
but it doesn't look like it's really a sensor anyway. Although it looks like the knee, I know I keep adding stuff, but it looks like the knee on the other picture had something.
Oh, yeah, it does have like a little
A
divot
lot of
in
detail.
there, like a little
Yeah.
vent.
A vent and some, yeah, lines going down. Yeah.
So we probably need to add that little vent down here on the lower knee. And then where did you see the Oh, yeah, so
And
it's got
just,
like kind of a weird design there.
yeah. Yeah.
That's going to be interesting to try and panel line. I've never done something that's that sort of.
Small but wide.
Yeah,
Another wide.
it kind of looks like a Space Invader. Like,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
It's funny. That does. Yeah.
Well, awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that is going to wrap it up for the planning phase of this custom kit that we are going to be building together. Adam, I appreciate all of your help,
No
identifying
problem.
these small little details and opportunities to kind of enhance this build. Um, I'm looking forward
Oh, yeah.
to really digging into this because I've done a few custom builds in the past, but I don't think I've ever done anything that's this
This
substantial,
extensive.
and I think that
Yeah.
it's going to be a fun project to be working on because, you know, I even did some Google searching prior to deciding on which kit I wanted to tinker with, and
Hmm.
everyone out there seems to just do the paint job. And that there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. Like it's a great kit on its own. It's a little dated, based on the
Yeah.
technology used in it. But they just copy the paint job and call it good. I'd like to get a little bit more into the weeds on this one.
Yeah. I agree. And I'm gonna learn a lot from this because I really want to start doing this stuff as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, we definitely have been talking privately about hosting some more community builds and maybe some
yep.
build contests. I'd love to start bringing back giveaways. I don't think I've done a giveaway since I had like 1,500 subscribers, which I think was, I don't know, like maybe last week. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I mean, I haven't done any giveaways on the channel for a while, and I think that this would be a good way to bring them back is either painting or build competitions and
Yeah.
um you know community experimentation. So yeah,
Yeah.
thanks to go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying I agree with you. I mean, I love doing that stuff because even this is getting me to want to do something. Like my hands are getting
kind of kind of
restless.
antsy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope that you guys in the chat that are checking it out, and for those of you who are watching this stream in the future, I hope that you're getting a little bit of inspiration. Maybe it's even like, man, this guy's an idiot. Like I wouldn't do it that way. I'd do it this way, and I'd pull from this kit to make that part. No, I mean that's really the best part about Gunpla as a hobby is you can get inspiration even from people who are doing it wrong.
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
Exactly. I mean, and yeah, don't be shy to share your technique. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
more the merrier.
Drop that below in the comments if if you come up with an idea that I missed, something that Adam maybe touched on, or that both of us kind of overlooked with this concept art. It is the Advance of Zeta reboot pre-production Hi-Zack that we are kind of trying to replicate with this kit. So if there's anything that we missed, leave it down below in the comments so that I can add it to the list of things that we need to do. But yeah, thank you guys so much in the chat for keeping it lively and keeping it civil. You know, Gunpla is freedom, Zeonic Shadow. Absolutely. Can't wait to see that Epion
Oh yeah.
totally built. I mean, even just the preview images that he dropped on the Gundam Explained Discord server, which if you're not a member of the Gundam Explained Discord server, link is down below in the description. Go join it because there's some amazing builders over there, and
Yep.
Zeonic Shadow is one of them. The preview images that we've seen so far of that Epion that he's working on is very nice.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, again, thank you guys so much for watching. Adam, thank you again for joining and
Of
sticking with
course.
me on this wild ride. And
Always.
yeah, with that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, a great rest of your week. And if I don't, drop a video on the weekend for some reason, I will catch you all next week.
Yep. See y'all.
Cheers.